let's talk about our CTTs for stakeholder management. The whole idea about stakeholders is often misconstrued. People think stakeholders are just the customer. But in the world of the PMI, we need to realize that these stakeholders are people that can impact the project and people who can be impacted by the project. They are also people who are interested in the project. Consequently, they are also people who think that the project may affect them because they're going to show up to your meetings and look for information about your project. And these could be people in the public, they could be internal stakeholders in the firm, or external stakeholders. But whatever the case, it's the job of the project manager to identify all of these people that can impact the project positively, negatively. Some stakeholders may have a limited ability to influence the project, and others may have a vast amount of influence. It's important to understand who these people are. Research and analysis of high-profile project disasters highlight the importance of a structured approach to identifying, prioritizing, and engaging with stakeholders. Stakeholder satisfaction should be identified and managed as a project objective, be it for positive or negative stakeholders. The key to effective stakeholder engagement is focus on continuous communication. For that reason, interpersonal skills are important. Communication is important. The method for communication becomes very important. As the project moves through its life cycle, be aware that stakeholders may leave and some may come. The activity of stakeholders could be rather dynamic on various projects. There could be changes to the organization. Old people go, new people come. So the project manager must bear in mind that the whole stakeholder identification exercise is not a one-time event. It happens through the project. Regarding trends and emerging practices in stakeholder management, first of all, we identify that stakeholders are not a limited set. Also, we must ensure that team members are involved in stakeholder engagement activities. It's important to realize that the PM is not the only person involved in stakeholder engagement. Team members also need to understand that there are do's and don'ts and good behavior in stakeholder engagement. Also, the stakeholder community should be reviewed regularly, and also we should do this in mind with the review of individual project risks. Also, regarding consulting with stakeholders who are most affected by the work is very important. Co-creation is talked about in the PMBOK guide, and capturing the value of effective stakeholder engagement, positive and negative, is a big deal in the world of stakeholder management. Some stakeholders may appear to be negative, maybe they appear to be the devil's advocate. Bear in mind that feedback is very useful. Also, we should be aware when tailoring our stakeholder approach to the idea of stakeholder diversity, how many stakeholders are there, how diverse is the culture. Also, the complexity of stakeholder relationships should be considered. The power play involved, politics involved. Also, as we tailor stakeholder management, we should be aware of communication technology. Which technology is available? Which one makes the most sense for the project? Lastly, when it comes to consideration for the Agile environment, bear in mind it is a huge deal for stakeholders to interact with the team. Projects experiencing a high degree of change absolutely need the communication and the interaction of stakeholders. There could be instances of co-creation that leads to more stakeholder involvement and higher satisfaction. Regular interactions with stakeholders throughout the process fosters unity, synergy, and it mitigates risk and builds trust. So in order to accelerate the sharing of information across the organization, Agile methods promote aggressive transparency. We talk about osmotic communication, talk about information radiators, just a little inkling into the world of Agile where transparency with stakeholders is huge. The intent of inviting stakeholders to meetings in the world of Agile is really to get them to understand what exactly is going on. There are rules that are followed. For example, in the world of Scrum, we could have a lot of stakeholders visit to sit in on are daily stand-ups, but that doesn't mean that every stakeholder is contributing to those meetings. But transparency is really the watchword. Why do we invite these stakeholders to these meetings? To make sure that any misalignment is communicated and brought to the surface as quickly as possible. In the world of Agile, good and bad news must travel fast. And that concludes our review of CTTs in the world of stakeholder management.